There is a shy teenager, a dad-bod serial killer, an unfashionable mystical dagger, and a carnage of hormonally imbalanced teenagers. Hi, Popcorn Recap here. Today, we'll go over the events in the 2020 slasher comedy film called Freaky. The film follows the life of a young high school girl whose body was switched with a deranged serial killer. On a creepy Wednesday night, some teens are having a good time listening to predictable serial killer stories. The teens debated that geriatric killers are no longer scary and those white serial killers are more terrifying due to their repressed violent tendencies. While the two teenagers look for soda water to combat the smell of the spilled cheap beer, the curly-haired boy wanders off. He doesn't like the bitchy attitude of the girl in a funny sweater. They both notice a strange-looking dagger but don't give much thought to it. They seem to be inside an extravagant guest house where relics and carved busts of ancient people are kept. He scavenges for anything useful and finds bottles of Montrachet. The poor guy can't even read it right. He hears something from behind and drops the bottle of wine, blaming the ugly sweater girl. As soon as he stands up, a creepy man stabs him in his mouth. The masked man forces a bottle of wine inside the boy's mouth and violently hits his throat. Shards of glass exploded from inside his young esophagus. Thick blood gushes out as if someone just removed their soaking tampons. The killer moves on to his new target. The sweater girl is in the washroom when weird and aggressive knocks startle her. She thinks it's the curly boy and bitchily turns him away. She notices that the knocks get more aggressive and she starts to feel off about it. The creepy masked killer busts into the door and grabs her by the hair and smashes her head with the toilet seat cover. She shouts hard for a few moments until her head is finally smashed off. Meanwhile, the two horny blonde teens decide to have sex. The bitchy blonde girl amazingly reaches orgasm first and blatantly leaves the teen boy afterward. She detaches herself from their doggy-style position and wears her undies back. She doesn't even wipe or wash. Yikes! Can you imagine how disappointed the young boy is when his manhood was left literally hanging after the unhooking? He begs for a few minutes only to be rejected. While they are walking across the tennis court, the lights suddenly turn on. As she looks back, she sees the dilapidated masked killer breaking a tennis racket and stabbing the poor guy's head with them. She screams and runs away asking for help. The middle-aged killer follows her and throws an antique spear. He misses. The girl runs desperately for her life and hides inside a cabinet. Of course, she will be found sooner or later. Almost anyone who hides in cabinets eventually gets killed. But enough of that tragic probability and focus on the killer's beer belly. He looks like a tired daddy who just got fired at work. When he opens the cabinet doors, the girl is surprisingly not there. Apparently, there's a secret door inside. But come on, can't she just wait until the sun rises before she peeks out? She hears her father's car coming and immediately runs outside. The killer catches her and pins her up with the spear. She instantly dies. The unknowing rich parents discover their daughter's corpse and scream. It seems that the dad-bod killer stole the creepy dagger for his future killing endeavors. The next day, the sweet Millie gets up and blissfully eats breakfast. The blonde girls sit awkwardly while arguing about teenage drinking and homecoming dance. The uncomfortable breakfast ends with Millie's police sister finding out that their mom is drinking again. Well, at least the pancakes are good. The three teen friends drive to school that morning and justify their reasons for attending the homecoming dance. Joshua admits that he'll attend to see drunk boys switch their sexualities. It sounds a bit rapey, don't you think? Nyla tells Millie to be more open and that it's time to move on from her dad's passing. Such genuine concern from a beautiful, real friend. The fiddly Millie walks down the school corridor and a gang of bitchy hyenas swarm into her. High school is such a dangerous hormonal petri dish for nasty cheerleaders and jerky assholes. Millie is late for her doghouse class. Her teacher makes sarcastic remarks about her and asks her to present her project early. Millie isn't ready yet because she's supposed to present a week after. Her condescending teacher embarrasses her and claims that Millie delays yet again the class progress. He makes Millie feel so small. How rude can he get? Maybe a little mustache trim would lessen his menopausal attitude. Booker, Millie's crush, can't contain his frustration and murmurs something against the teacher but immediately hides his tail when asked up front. Millie tries to pacify the situation by asking for an extension until the 16th. Her voice is small and weak after the humiliation she has received. The power-tripping senior citizen further degrades Millie. The class is interrupted by a text blast about some teenagers brutally murdered the night before. That night, all of the students are cheering for the game. The douchey teen boys see Millie wearing the school's beaver mascot and make fun of her. The ruthless jerks throw a crumpled brown bag at her face. It seems like Millie captures the attention of bullies even when her face is covered. Millie's mom is supposed to pick her up after the game, but she's late again. The sweaty and visually smelly Millie tells her friends to go ahead despite their warnings that a psycho killer is on the loose. Turns out, Millie's mom passed out from drinking. Millie tries to call her mom, but her phone unfortunately dies. The lights die and Millie is left alone. She sees the masked man across the street and yells that her cop sister will be there any minute. The psycho killer chases Millie. She hides under the bleachers but is immediately found by the dad-bod killer. Just when the killer tries to stab her with the stolen dagger, the whole place transforms into some sort of ancient Aztec temple. The psycho killer stabs Millie on her shoulder and instantly feels the pain too. Something magical has happened and both Millie and the middle-aged killer know it. Luckily, Millie's cop sister arrives and fires a warning shot. The astounded serial killer runs away and leaves his weird-looking dagger. Millie is in shock. Who wouldn't be? She just survived a freaky murder. That night, there is a wild thunderstorm. Millie is having nightmares about the strange dagger, and at midnight, something unexplainable happens. Millie wakes up and everything about her is oddly different. Her mom offers her favorite breakfast and instantly gets taken aback by Millie's creepy behavior. The weird Millie examines her reflection and even checks out her 8-cup boobs. The psycho killer wakes up in a morbid-looking room. He freaks out when he sees his terrifying reflection. Apparently, Millie and the serial killer have mysteriously exchanged bodies on the night of the attempted murder. His mental breakdown gets interrupted by an oily homeless man who's looking for drugs. The confused psychopath asks the addict what he looks like. The shabby junkie is even more perplexed by the question. He concludes that the psycho is on drugs. The petty man begs for some and even offers to give a BJ. The confused psychopath killer runs away like a damsel in distress. Meanwhile, Millie viciously sneaks into the kitchen and stares at her mother. Her eyes radiate an incoming killing spree, but she is immediately persuaded to sit down for breakfast. Millie gobbles up the bacon and eggs as if she's been on a 100-year hunger strike. The mailman rings the bell and checks up on the family. Millie grabs a kitchen knife and plans to stab her cop sister. Luckily, her mom takes it away from her and encourages her to go to school. The killer Millie agrees as soon as she hears the word friends. The butcher goes into town seeking help and an explanation for the abominable switch. He walks around town like a flower girl, which is so awkward to watch. The police have identified the Blissfield butcher as a criminally insane escapee from the town's asylum. The townspeople instantly recognize him and freak out. He runs away to hide from the police. The killer Millie ravages her closet and can't find anything that is suitable to wear. All she sees are boring cardigans and petty ruffles. She goes to her sister's room and grabs the leather jacket. It seems like the psycho butcher has some style. The new Millie goes to school with the best swag ever. Everyone looks at her in great awe. Even the tiny Instagram whore wants to have a selfie with her. It's funny how such a small girl can have so much attitude. The killer Millie gets annoyed with all the blabbering and tells her friends to fuck off. The social media starlet Ryler won't stop bugging Millie for last night's attempted murder fiasco. Millie asks her to go somewhere private, meaning someplace where she can kill the nosy Ryler. They go inside an empty locker room. Ryler kept asking if something more happened last night. Ryler feels off with the killer Millie's borderline lesbian vibes, so she leaves for a moment to pee. While Ryler was text blasting that Millie is a vegetarian, she hears strange noises from outside the cubicle. She stands up to check. She didn't even wipe or flush. Yikes! Even a hardcore vegetarian won't come near her vegetable. Ryler looks for Millie, but sees the butcher killer instead. Poor man, taking a shower in the school's locker room. She gasps out of fear and runs away only to be greeted by the scary Millie. She warns Millie that the butcher is in the shower area, but Millie doesn't even blink. The killer Millie brings Ryler inside the cryotherapy pod and leaves her there to die. The butcher, after taking a well-deserved bath, opens the cryotherapy pod and sees the frozen Ryler. He taps the frozen body and it falls down to the ground, breaking into pieces. Meanwhile, the killer Millie attends her once-dreaded doghouse class. Booker asks her if she's alright and unknowingly cuts his finger. The bloodthirsty Millie grabs Booker's finger and licks the blood off of it. The whole scenario is so wicked that it can arouse a hormonally imbalanced teenager. But it didn't impress the grumpy old teacher. Instead, he humiliates Millie and calls her an attention-seeking flirt. While the real Millie's friends are waiting for her, the butcher arrives and chases them away. The two teens run as fast as they could, over and under the auditorium's props. The butcher finally corners them but is injured with a Mortal Kombat kick in the balls. That's when he fully realizes that his new body has extra dangly skin called the scrotum. The two teens run for their lives, believing that they will die because one of them is black and the other is gay. The butcher brutally chases them, potentially giving the teens PTSD. After a tiresome and painful pursuit, the butcher finally conciliates the scared teens by doing the beaver cheer dance. The butcher convinces them he's Millie by answering questions only she and her friends would know. The butcher seals the deal by doing their friendship handshake. The teens believe him and scream in excitement. He later narrates what has happened on the night of the switch while raving about how incredible it is to pee with a penis. He goes on to reveal his nightmares after his encounter with the serial killer and how the dagger whispers its name, La Dola La Dola. Joshua Googles La Dola and finds out that the dagger is from ancient Aztec civilization and has indeed mystical powers. While Joshua is trying to understand the online article in Spanish, the butcher doesn't know if he should wipe or not after peeing. Good gal, always so hygienic even when the apocalypse is just around the corner. Nobody can understand the article, so they go to their Spanish teacher. After minutes of foreign confusion, Joshua reveals that he doesn't understand what the teacher is talking about. Their teacher scolds him in disbelief, but Joshua justifies that he's suddenly dyslexic. The teacher can no longer take the immature conversation conversation and just explains what the article is all about. Allegedly, the two switched bodies must sacrifice a soul within 24 hours or else the change will be permanent. While the butcher is waiting in the comfort room, one of Millie's bullies enters and demands that it's his turn to use the cubicle. The butcher gets back at him by pinning him against the wall. While the butcher is busy undoing the switch, the bloodthirsty Millie tries to kill her douchey mustache teacher. She struggles to hurt him at first because of her new body, but eventually succeeds with a screwdriver. She brutally kills the old man by cutting him in half using the circular saw. After that wicked death scene, the butcher and Millie see each other in the hallway. The cold-blooded Millie purposely shouts to call the attention of the police on duty. The psychopathic killer really is talented. The butcher, together with Millie's friends, drives off only to be chased by the sister cop. Butcher gets an awkward yet sentimental moment with Millie's mom. Butcher thought they were having a maternal connection, but is quickly translated into misguided flirting. Ew. Meanwhile, the killer Millie seduces the quarterback boys and advertently tells them that she would kill them. Of course, they didn't believe her, but Booker notices that Millie is acting strange. Booker follows Millie and asks her if she's okay. Just when Millie tries to stab Booker, the butcher appears and stops her. Millie gets knocked off and is finally caught. The butcher convinces Booker that she's Millie by reciting some romantic poem about getting lost in snowflakes. Booker believes him and they all get set to take the cursed dagger. Joshua is left to watch over Murder Barbie, then his mom untimely arrives and is completely taken aback by the scene. Millie escapes and the mother and son duo run for their lives. While Nyla is being held at gunpoint, Booker and the butcher start kissing each other. It's probably the teenage hormones or the midlife crisis that made them do it. Either way, it didn't look good. The killer Millie goes to the police station to get the magical dagger. The butcher follows her inside and ends up getting shot at by the cop's sister. Millie runs away with the dagger and tries to run over Joshua. Poor gay child, but don't worry, he survives. The evil Millie Kessler goes back to the party and mercilessly kills 3 more guys. The pile of dead bodies keeps coming because of Millie's killing spree. Booker lends his watch to the butcher and sets an alarm for midnight. Finally, the butcher and Millie face each other in a historical duel. Just when the butcher gets his chance to stab the evil Millie, the police come and shoot at him. Millie gets away with the dagger yet again. But Joshua and Nyla aren't just gay and black, they are real fighters too. They manage to pin the bad Millie so the butcher can get his body back. But the alarm for midnight rings and everyone thinks that it's too late. The butcher then realizes that Booker is always 5 minutes early, and the stabbing game continues. The butcher successfully stabs the evil Millie and the switch happens. Millie gets her body back and the butcher gets shot by the police. Millie and Booker kiss in the back of the ambulance, ignoring the malodorous scent of murder bloodstains and midlife crisis post-kiss. If you think the butcher would die easily, you are mistaken. He escapes the ambulance and goes to Millie's house for revenge. He grabs Millie's always messy blonde hair and threatens to slash her neck. The cop sister arrives to save her only to find out that her gun has been emptied. Their mother maternally arrives and smashes a glass of wine on the butcher's head, but it didn't make any difference at all. The butcher knocks off their mother and cop sister. The guy has some serious violence against women and children. He hurts Millie and tells her a bunch of existential stuff that sounds quite realistic, to be honest. Millie doesn't give up and hits the saggy balls. He might seem so tough and criminally strong, but his scrotum sure is wrinkly and weak. The Kessler women beat the butcher until Millie kills him with a sharp piece of wood. The movie ends with Millie's newly found courage and attitude. And that's so freaky.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like. It really helps the channel.